Hello everybody, welcome to another Soniclab special. Exciting day today, Jesse. Jesse is head of hardware at Ableton, and you may have guessed that there's some new Ableton hardware, which is why you're here, right? So tell us.
Yeah, so we have the new Push here. We released Push 1 in 2013 and Push 2 in 2015, and we've been working on this one ever since. So it's been a really long journey, but there's some really powerful things inside of it.
So, I mean, I don't mind if I say this straight away, the first thing is standalone, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so, well, take us through what it can do now, because this is kind of quite a big leap forward in terms of the hardware, right?
Yeah, I mean, somehow our engineers managed to keep it in the same form factor, but cram in a hard drive, a computer, and a battery. So yeah, this all works without power. We're not connected to Ableton Live right now. We're not connected to a laptop. So what we've got inside is a very powerful processor. I can take anything I make on this, bring it over to my laptop for later editing, or I can bring any sets from my computer onto this. So all your live effects, they all work in here. Max for Live works. It's a really powerful way to take it on stage or to take it to your couch, work on your lap with a battery. Use it as a multi-track recorder in your basement with your drums, all kinds of things.
So it should point out that this will work with all included Ableton instruments and plugins, third-party stuff. You'd have to print that to audio for now, right?
Right, exactly. So you might want to freeze your VSTs, and it comes with live intro, but if you have a Live Suite license, you unlock that and you get whatever you have authorized, as well as your packs as well too. So if you have different live packs from our site, you can install all this directly onto the unit, and you get a huge amount of sounds from that. So
this has got USB connectivity to the host computer. It's got a Wi-Fi connectivity for, I guess, licensing and installing your sound packs and whatnot. And what else? There's a USB host as well, I believe, as well.
Yeah, so actually the Wi-Fi is also used for file transfer. So as long as you're on the same network as your computer, you can see Push in your live browser. We'll show that a little later, and transfer your sets that way, backwards and forwards.
Okay, so what else is new? I mean, the pads look very different. I mean, we've got an original, one of the earlier Pushes here, and there's a sort of different thing. Are they the same pads, or have they been tweaked? What's going on?
That's probably the biggest surprise is we've been working on this new pad technology. So we have not only velocity and force sensitivity, but now it can sense where your hand is. So that allows us to do a lot with instruments, with MPE. Maybe I'll show some examples of this. So now when I'm playing, I can do pitch bend per note, so I could do things like, and also filter cutoff or whatever you want to assign to it per note. So this gives you some really beautiful musical ideas, and I think it's something we used to have in pop music and like with the CS80. So you hear,
so we're per note expression, MPE, like straight off the bat, right? Okay.
Yeah, and I think the cool part about it here is I think there's a lot of really great MPE devices out there, but there's quite a bit of setup of pitch bend, of getting the library, installing the VST somewhere, which DAW are you using, figuring all that out. And now here I just turn it on and load the preset, and this is Drift, which is a new instrument we have in 11.3 for all users.
Well, a lot of I mean, 11.3 added a whole bunch of MPE compatibility and editing, and well, prior to that, so it's already baked into that. And
exactly.
And this is live, running on the actual hardware itself.
That's right.
Inside the standalone mode. Okay, right.
Yeah, and I like Drift is really great. It gives me those sort of old Oberheim kind of CS80 kind of vibes because it drifts the voices a little bit, like a Sam used to have. But I also like using it for sample-based instruments and doing things that sound natural but aren't possible. Like here I have a Rhodes where I have a tremolo per note. So you can imagine if you had 88 tremolos plugged into your Rhodes, you can do, or a clavinet where I'd have a wah per note.
Right, okay, so that's really expressive right off the bat. I mean, I guess for people who aren't maybe used to playing on the grid, you can plug something that will this read MPE from an external source?
Definitely, yeah. You have a USB-A jack on the back, and you can plug in, your Rolly or your Osmos or something like that, or a regular MIDI keyboard. our control surfaces as well. I think one other thing I wanted to show is some of the other natural instruments we have are things like the, this is a string made by Spitfire Audio, who make really great stuff. This is a pack that...
So you've got per note expression. Wow. Okay.
And you could really noodle on that all day and just get great sounds. Now I'm playing in the in-key mode here. I think, you know, I've played Push for a while, so I was often playing on the chromatic mode, where it's more like your guitar. You've got it in fourths here. But the new Push lets me do some really cool stuff in key. So when you're sliding, it knows diatonically where you're sliding. So you might be sliding by a semitone or a whole tone as you're going up or down, but Push is just going to naturally know how far to slide as you move around the chords. So
it keeps it right. Keeps it melodically relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is presumably a whole new kind of pad technology, scanning and sensors and all of that kind of stuff is going on with these new ones, right?
Yeah, we've developed a new technology. It's basically two layers: one that's for force sensing and one that's for sensing where your hand is, and it's, I think, contactless inductive sensing. So,
okay.
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it.
I'll take the engineer's word for it as well. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, so what kind of size sessions could we run at this? We can run like full Ableton Live sessions. Obviously, plug in external. We could use as the basis of a live system, like actually playing live without having to bring the computer along.
That's right. And we have a new session view here, so you can see all your clip names. This is an empty set right now, but I could add clips in here. I'm bringing sets that have, you know, like my live set as I try to keep it within an 8-track range with 200 or 300 scenes. I brought that over, no problem, lots of effects. But when I'm creating with it, I'm going up to probably 25 tracks or so. Lots of different instruments, audio tracks, recording my guitar, bass. I couldn't give you an exact track count.
But it's fairly standard that, you know, you would make your recording, your session in a live, mix your record, whatever you would do, and then you would do a secondary session to kind of consolidate it for a live performance. So it's a sort of similar process, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's really, I think, mostly for that creation stage where I'm on my couch or in my studio, connected to all my external gear, but with my computer off, which is just beautiful. It's what we always wanted from Push from the start.
Yeah.
But we had to do it in steps to get there, I think.
So yeah, I mean, essentially you've got, so it's an Intel computer in here. You're not going ARM, so that means that you've got Max for Live, you've got Ableton Live, and you've got the kind of the Push software layer all working in here. What about storage and RAM and that sort of thing? Is that standard, or is that?
So we've got 8 gigabytes of RAM, and an SSD that's installed with it is 256 gigabytes. And it is actually, the whole thing can be upgraded by the user as well. That's something that was really important for us for two reasons. One, you can buy it in 2 configurations now. You can buy it without the standalone part if you're just interested in the expression and connecting it to your computer.
Right.
But you could later upgrade it to standalone if you want to by adding the battery, the SSD, and the CPU.
Right, but as it comes, it's essentially, you know, the non-upgraded version is MIDI controller with audio interface.
That's right,
Right,
yeah,
okay.
and expressive pads, yeah.
Right, got you. Wow, okay, well that's pretty impressive. So, you know, you could trick it out, make a gold one with a kind of i9 in it or something for
someday, yes.
For Timberland.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right.
And, yeah, and you can upgrade. That's the hope, is also in 5 years when computers need to be faster, we're on Live 15 or whatever, and it takes more CPU, you could upgrade that CPU at a later stage. And so it doesn't get, you don't throw it out in 5 years. We want this to be something that lasts a really long time.
Yeah, well, I think that's an important thing. We've also got a computer, a synth attached here because we've got audio inputs, we've got outputs which are sort of, these are doing CV and gate. I mean, what happens with these I/O? What can we configure them as?
Yeah, so on the back you've got your 2 input pedal jacks is what these were on Push 2, and now they have a double function. So they still work as a sustain pedal and triggering recordings, but now we can also use breakout cables to have up to 4 CV gate outs. So, and then we've also got ADAT on the back here, which is really powerful for me. I use an ADAT extender, and I have 8 instruments plugged into it, my Rhodes, my clavinet, all these things.
So of course you've got that. You can bring those into the mixer, process in real time. I mean, how is how is it for processing real time? Because that obviously takes a bit more grunt than it does for a desktop system.
I mean, it's great, and the cool thing is I have that ADAT connected, and I have it going both to my studio setup with an Apollo and to Push. When I switch from using it as a control surface on my computer to standalone, all the connections all switch over automatically. I don't have to unplug any cables, including all my external synthesizers, which are connected via the USB-A to a MIDI to a USB hub, which is then going to my class-compliant MIDI interface, which goes to 10 synths.
Right. Okay.
So that whole setup is switching for me automatically when I switch from controlling live to standalone.
Interesting. So I suppose the thing is you could use this as your sound card in non-standalone mode, right? And then
for sure.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, interesting.
So I've got 2 main outs, balanced outs, 2 inputs that can be balanced or unbalanced, depending if you have a guitar or maybe stereo line or something. I've got MIDI in and out via breakout cable, your USB-A, your power, USB-C for connecting it to your computer, these 2 pedal jacks that we talked about that are either pedal jack in or CV out, and your headphone jack out, which can be independently assignable from the main outs.
Okay, well, show us a little bit more of the good stuff then.
Yeah, so I started to show you some of the expression on some instruments, but another really cool thing is on drums. So the drums are also expressive, and we've got a couple packs that take advantage of this, and we've updated our Session Drums Club and Session Drums Studio. And now what this means is on a single pad, I have different articulations. So if this is a hi-hat, very closed, getting more open as I go up. And this is all multi-sample layered, but different articulations. I've got about 3 on each of these pads. So a ride cymbal would be like edge, center, bell.
Right, so for acoustic instruments, for instance, or stuff that requires other expression, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can have an organ that goes from the odd to the even harmonics, multi-sampled organ. You can do all kinds of really interesting different things. You can also do it with electronic drums, of course, and get more creative. So if you put a wavetable on each pad or something, this one. This has a lot of different really creative sounds on each pad.
So is it, I mean, can you address that sort of stuff via external MIDI? I mean, how would you get to that sort of positional data information if you wanted to play it via a keyboard or maybe some other sets of pads or whatever? Is that possible?
Yeah, if you have any control surface or keyboard, you can that's class compliant, you can just plug it in and play all that via the keyboard. Right. A Rolly keyboard or an Osmos are good for MPE, things like that.
Yeah. But the positional data, I'm thinking, because there must be, that's not pressure based, that's actually positional. So yeah. So what's that sending on the position to get that?
That's MPE slide. That's the MPE slide.
It's like a snapshot of the slide.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Right.
And this one is more continuous, but on like a sample based kit, I'm in sampler and live. You can assign up to 128 different drums.
Wow. Which
would be more than I could actually touch. So I usually do about 3 different zones per pad.
Yeah. Wow, okay, interesting.
Another really cool thing that came with 11.3 that's really exciting for me is the new auto-warping algorithm we have. So what I'm going to do is load a sample into here, and this is an unwarped sample. And got a couple. I can preview them before I load them in. I'll load that one. And what's really cool is it comes in, it's really, really good at detecting the rhythm of it. So, I mean, I've spent 20 years warping songs in live. That's why I came to live.
Right.
But now the auto warping has taken that need away. Now it comes in, it's perfectly warped. I've spent, hours and hours every week. I told the developers that this actually saves me, I calculated it, 2 months of my life.
So far?
Yeah, no, it will in the future, because now I don't have to spend that time using the audio like a rubber band and moving it around. It just does it. It's so good that I don't even need to listen to the metronome as I do it anymore, but let's try it out anyway. Right on beat. It takes anything I throw at it. I have, gigabytes and gigabytes of old jazz, funk, and fusion that speed up and slow down whole sides of vinyl. And this all just comes in perfectly.
So does that mean this could still be used essentially? Because I remember when Ableton first came out, people were using it almost as a DJ set and warp it, so you could still use it for that in standalone mode as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow, okay, interesting.
So with samples though, they get even more interesting also with the expressive pads too. So I'm just going to convert this one to a simpler here. And what that gives me now is the ability to trigger that sample.
Over pitch, right.
But I want to do some things that change it around a little bit. So I'm going to go into the simpler, go into my warping, turn warping on that, and maybe take it to Complex Pro, because that's where I can change the pitch of it without messing with the formants too much. So let's just go to every key here. So I can slide it.
Wait, do that again? Wait.
Yeah, so turn off that metronome. I can slide it while I'm playing.
And it still maintains the rhythmic integrity.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the Roland Very phrase used to do this or something, but now this is even wilder, so.
Oh my. I mean, I'm thinking like backing vocals and stuff. That's really, I mean, this as well, that's really interesting. I think we're going to hear that in some contemporary music soon.
Absolutely, yeah.
This isn't just for Push though, is it? I mean, that's a feature that has just been basically brought across from the latest update of Live.
I mean, a big reason we did it was for Push, so that you could have this on here, you could get your samples and play them in different ways. We can, of course, slice this all up and do all kinds of chopping if we want to with the samples, but I'm finding this, like, being able to slide the pitch is wild, so.
Wow. So how do you transfer data between standalone mode and the source computer?
Well, they're both on the same Wi-Fi network, so it's all done over Wi-Fi. In Live now, you can see this push icon. Click on that, and I see the projects and user library. And the user library is where I might put in samples and presets and things like that I bring from my computer over. Projects is where the projects go. I can bring projects either way, as I said. So let's just do that with one of these. I'll just open this one here.
So that's now pulling files from this push, which is a session you created, and bringing it into a session on Live. Okay, so there it is.
Yeah.
And that works vice versa and goes back the other way as well.
Yeah, I can take my big performance set and put it onto here, that sort of thing.
Okay, so we've loaded a big session from the computer in here. This goes over Wi-Fi, so 8 gigs, loads of tracks, whatever. So what does that look like in session view?
So yeah, in the new session view here, you can see all the clip names. You can also see the scene names when I touch the encoder. So let's move down a bit. I've got, you can see it showing up here. That's just when I touch it, because it's a touch-sensitive jog wheel. We designed this jog wheel ourselves because we didn't find anything that really felt as pro as we wanted it to feel. It also goes left and right.
Oh, okay, nice.
And you can, scroll through big sets. I can sync that up with the clips down here. There's different ways we can launch anything we want to. Let me get to a different song here.
So this is, you said it's like 8 gigs. It's all running fine. It's got plugins, audio clips, MIDI, all sorts of stuff going on in here.
Yeah,
right?
It's about 12 tracks, I think, and hundreds of clips. So I can take this and launch a scene now. Let's turn that up a little bit. And we also have this hooked up here.
Yeah.
We could play something alongside this too.
So this is hooked over. This is the Dreadvox NUC, and it's hooked up over MIDI and CV and gate.
Right. So we have a variety of presets for how you can send CV and gate out, but this one has, I think it's got CV, gate, aftertouch, and slide, and we've assigned these to cut off and some levels of the different things in here. So
Let's take that up. That means I can play too. So we could record that as audio or as clips, right?
That's right.
As MIDI clips.
I mean, I can capture the MIDI of what we just did. I find it really fun, though. It's bringing new life to old synths for me. Like, I have a Pro 1 at home, and that takes CV and cutoff in. And for me, now I've got 10 octaves to work with instead of what it normally has on the keyboard. And it's all pitch tracks better, and I can continuously slide and use that filter cutoff. And that's really where, like, for me, these pads make the sound design is in your fingers more than touching a note, turning a cutoff. Now that cutoff is under the finger.
So a couple of things. This could run on battery, right? How long would the battery life last if we were running this session?
About 2.5 hours. It depends.
So it's not an all-day thing, but if someone ran by and unplugged the power while you're on stage,
yeah, you're going to be okay.
You'll still be okay. Well, this is a really cool thing. And as it comes, if someone was to buy this expanded, would they get full version of Ableton, or what would they get?
If you don't own anything, it comes with Live Intro, which has a variety of instruments, effects, and a bunch of extra packs that we've included with it. If you do own Live Suite, you can go in and authorize it, and then that opens up all your different instruments and effects you might have with it.
Cool. Wow, that's neat. So, what does it come with as standard? The upgraded one as standard. What are we getting? How much storage space? Disk space? Did you say?
256 gigabytes.
Right. Okay.
So quite a bit, especially when you're not also having to deal with like Adobe Creative Cloud installed on there and stuff. It's dedicated just for this.
So, what's the pricing of this? Because obviously you could buy it unupgraded and upgraded, but both have a price.
So in US dollars, it's $999 for unupgraded and $1999 for the standalone version.
Okay, so that's a couple, $300 more than just the regular push, but we've got the audio interface and the upgraded pads. So that seems, and also, I guess the thing is you're saying you can upgrade the internals of it as well. Once you may have already upgraded, or you may choose to buy it at a cheaper price and then kind of go, actually, I want standalone, but you don't have to have it.
Right, it gives you a chance to split up your money and to decide if that's something you really want, I think. And
what does it come with in terms of content? Is that just geared to what is in your current Ableton library?
Yeah, it depends on your license. So if you have, it comes with intro and a variety of packs. There's quite a few extra packs that we're putting in there. And then if you have bought packs in the past, you get those. You can install them on here. It's pretty easy. I just go to my packs and I see my list of all the packs. I have a ton installed in here myself. And if you have Live Suite, then you get to unlock all those different instruments that Live Suite comes with, which is really a lot that we've worked hard to make all MPE capable in most cases. So
I had one other question about this, because obviously that's the format of the screen, and obviously if you're making third-party Macs for live devices, can you guarantee the way that it's going to look? So if we look at a Macs for live device, will it be wonky, or will it kind of intelligently figure out how everything is supposed to be?
Yeah, I mean, I can't guarantee that all Macs for live devices will work, because sometimes they have things that don't work on a Linux-based operating system.
Right.
But the ones on Ableton's website, for the most part, work. And they'll show you, I think there's an object called live.banks, which can tell you, like, I want these 8 encoders to be the first ones on push. This is the next bank, and you can name all those banks and things like that.
Right, okay, cool.
There's a lot more we can do and we want to do with that.
Yeah, I'm sensing that this is a sort of an ongoing project, because obviously for now, third-party plugins, but that's not an impossibility. Also, you've said that it's MIDI, class-compliant MIDI stuff, but I'm guessing there may be a possibility. It's a computer inside, it may be able to do audio in the future. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities that open up, right?
Yeah, I mean, and with the pads too, I mean, there's so much more we could do in different areas, because you could use it as one pad surface. There are really wishes that we have coming in from ourselves and from outside. The possibilities are quite endless in every direction. So we could go fully into Macs for Live. We could dive deeper into certain instruments. We could add new instruments. We could do new expressive techniques. So we have to be really diligent about our backlog and what we can do next.
Yeah, well, so if this is being announced, hopefully on the day you're seeing this video, when's it going to be available to buy?
The same day. So,
right, so it's on the way to stockists, right? Okay.
Yep, it's in warehouses already, actually. So
good job on keeping that a secret.
Yeah.
Did great there.
Yeah.
Wow, well done.
It's not easy to announce and launch at the same day, but we're doing it, so it's exciting. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jesse, thank you so much for showing us. I guess you're going to play out with some extra sound examples, and we can take a look at some sexy close-ups of the unit. Anyway, that's it for this time. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
Thanks a lot, Nick.